Hi. So I hope you are ready to have a nice, relaxing tea tasting with me. I have recently gotten very into wine tasting videos. The problem is, it makes me want to drink a lot of wine, which does not work in my lifestyle very much, considering that I do client counseling sessions in the evenings quite a lot. So even in the evenings, I don't have a lot of time to be drinking wine, except for a few nights a week on the weekend. It's also very expensive, and I want to buy all the wines and try all the wines, and I financially cannot buy all the wines. So I was looking for an alternative, and I've been looking for tea tasting videos. And I'm not finding tea tasting videos that are what I'm looking for, that are like wine tasting videos. So I'm seeing a lot of tea unboxing, but I'm not seeing tea treated like wine is. I'm not seeing people smell it and look at the color and taste it and describe it in a way that I would like them to. It's one of the relaxing things about wine tastings for me. And the interesting thing about tea is it is so versatile, especially if you consider anything you brew in water, hot water, as tea. So there are many tisanes or herbal teas that are not technically tea because they don't have tea leaves in them, but they're still delicious. And I love to learn about tea. I will admit I am not a tea expert. I drink about 4 to 6 cups of tea a day, and when I say cups, I mean cups. So I'm a big tea drinker, but I'm not trained in tea, and I'm actually even trying to learn how to do the tasting, the smelling. So you guys will hopefully learn along with me as I do more of these. I've been wanting to do these for a while, but have been struggling to find the time. So it's evening now. I actually even have a counseling session later on this evening, but I wanted to do this now with you guys because I've noticed I was making some tea this evening and I'm running out of some of my teas. So I wanted to do a tasting of them before I run out. So with wine tasting, you usually start with lighter and move to heavier. Now, in my day, when I'm at home drinking tea, I tend to start out with black because it's more caffeinated, and then I move to green tea, which is less caffeinated, and finally to herbal teas. But for tasting, I'm going to actually go in the reverse because I feel like the black teas are going to sit on your palate a little bit more than some of the herbal ones. We'll see if that's true or not. So the first tea I am going to test, this is actually what I will be drinking the rest of the night because it is an herbal, is one called Bella Coola. I have this little bag my wonderful mother sends me for my birthday every year, a tea subscription, and it's to a local tea shop. Although I am thinking of switching to maybe David's teas this year because the tea tastings I am finding are often for David's teas, and so I would really like to try their teas. I have not tried any David's teas yet, although I am leaning towards getting one of the tea advent calendars. Some of you know I went to Europe this summer, and although much of it was paid for with a grant, not all of it was, and so all of my savings has gone to that trip pretty much. So I need to save some money before I can purchase more teas, especially considering that I have lots of teas. I know there are lots of people out there who have many more teas than I have. They have tea closets and tea areas, and I have a metal box and a few little drawers where I keep teas, and I also have a shelf where I keep some teas. I have a very small kitchen, small galley kitchen, and a rather small pantry, and an 11-year-old child who will eat me out of house and home if he can. So having lots of room for tea is not an option right now. So I want to work through some of the teas I have. I want to save up some money, but I think I do want to do a tea advent calendar this year. So we're starting off with the Bella Coola. So Bella Coola, I'm going to treat this very much like a wine tasting. So the Bella Coola is very, very aromatic. It smells like rose. It smells like orange. Yeah, it smells a little bit like pineapple. It is very, very fruity. I'm gonna pour some out in my hand. So it's basically just little pieces of fruit and lots of different, what looks kind of like tea leaves is hibiscus. So what it says on the website is that it's a sweet blend of rose hips, hibiscus leaves, orange peel, apple, and pineapple. The hibiscus and rose hips give the added benefit of naturally occurring vitamin C. So it's funny because I always think of this as a summer tea because it's really nice as an iced tea, and it's really nice as, like, I used to make my son popsicles out of it all the time until he kind of caught on to real popsicles and how much sugar real popsicles have. But with all the vitamin C in it, it actually is a really lovely wintertime tea to help kind of fight off colds. So I've had a little bit of a smell, and now I actually rarely drink my my tea in here, but I wanted to pour it into so pretty. This is something we miss out on a lot too, because most of us drink our tea in mugs that are not clear glass. So we miss how beautiful our teas are. So this is a beautiful pink color. In treating this like wine, I have tried to swirl and sniff, and it does smell, it smells much more like the hibiscus once it's brewed. I find the smell is often much more enjoyable in the bag than after it's brewed, but the taste is much better. So I'm going to probably drink this whole thing. So I do like hibiscus tea. It does have kind of a sweet taste. All of the smells, I can taste the orange, but I can't really taste the pineapple. Maybe I can taste the apple a little bit. I don't taste rose at all, even though I could smell it. It really is mostly the hibiscus with this little bit of citrusy flavor with it. And I guess a little bit of the pineapple as well. So they recommend a slightly heaping teaspoon for 8 ounces. This is about a little less than 8 ounces. I mean, a little more than 8 ounces, probably 12 ounces. I rarely drink in these little glasses because I am lazy and don't want to get up and get tea 1,500 times during the day since I drink so much. So I do usually drink in great big glasses, but I'm thinking of getting some Nordic glasses, which are the clear glass, so that I don't miss out on the beautiful color. Thinking about this lately, I miss out on the colors of these teas a lot. So that is a lovely start. And I've been thinking, again, I'm not going to buy more tea at the moment because I need to really clear out some of the teas that I have. So when this Bella Coola is out, I may not go replace it right away, but it is really a nice vitamin C boost. So this one they recommend brewing at 180 degrees for 3 to 5 minutes. And then they write, which is something I have heard from this tea shop, you can steep it as long as you want. And it makes a great sun tea too. The thing I have heard about Dasanis is you almost can't overbrew them. So it is a nice, like, when it's the evening and I'm a bit forgetful, or like I just don't want to deal with pouring out my tea. I just want to, like, I have little linen tea bags that I use, and sometimes I just want to dump them in there and not think about it. So sometimes I will use those. All right, so now we're going to move on to a green tea. So this one is called Chun Mee. I will admit, this is not my favorite green tea. I really like a hojicha or something that's a little bit toastier, but I'm going to give you a little trick. So the smell of this is really beautiful. It definitely smells like tea, but it smells kind of flowery. And maybe a little bit like, I don't know, it smells a little bit like vegetables, like dried, like when you have the dried vegetables that are in like ramen soup. It's got a little bit of that going on. So what they say on the website is that this is a green summer tea. Again, because I'm doing the teas that I'm starting to run out of, although I have quite a bit of this left. But it's the green tea I'm kind of the lowest on right now. Except for my Long Island strawberry, which I will probably do a tasting on next time. So this is from China, obviously. I am not going to try to pronounce where it's from because I don't know any Chinese, any Mandarin or Cantonese, and I don't want to offend and embarrass myself. So Chun Mee, which I'm also probably pronouncing wrong, means precious eyebrow. So that is kind of a funny thing to want to drink, but I guess they do kind of look like eyebrows. I should pour some out. So some of the things I've been reading about tea tastings is that you should really pay attention to the leaves. So I don't know how well you can see these. So these are these little green leaves. I'm going to put that back if I can without getting it all over my floor. They said you should look at the dry leaves, but you should also look at the brood leaves. So for most of these, I actually don't have the brood leaves, but I do for this green. So I actually used one of these. I bought one of these recently because I don't know what happens to them. They walk away. So this is what it looks like with their brood. I did not put a lot in there, but they really puff up when they are brewed. It's made from tougher leaves and is fried in a hot oven, giving it a slightly charred vegetal scent. So it does have that kind of vegetal scent, but I feel like when I drink it, here I'm going to pour some into my teacup so you can see the color. It's very light colored, and I feel like it kind of tastes like that too. So the flavor notes are slightly roasted with a nuttier flavor. I feel like it has a very, very bland flavor. I don't feel like it has much flavor at all. So it kind of tastes like, I don't know, sometimes the tea that you'll get at restaurants, like at Asian restaurants, when they're trying to appease a Western palate with tea. Like my mom would get tea at Japanese restaurants and put sugar, like green tea, and put sugar in them, which is kind of blasphemous to me and to the people working there as well. But it reminds me of that. Like sometimes you get this very bland tea. So here is what I did. When COVID started, my husband got a little bit prepper, just a little bit, and so he bought a whole bunch of barley. So we have ooh, that smells so good. So we have a whole bunch of barley still, because you only make stuff with barley all that often. And so I had some barley, and I have had barley tea when I lived in Indonesia. I used to really just buy roasted barley at the store and then brew it as tea. And so I just put some barley in a dry pan and I roasted it. It smells wonderful. It smells kind of like popcorn. Like, yeah, I mean, it smells like if you've ever roasted rice before you've made risotto, or again, that like kind of popcorny smell. If you've air popped popcorn and not put butter on it. And again, they just get a little bit toasty. So I have been putting these in my Chun Mee, and that definitely gives it more. So I'm gonna just put that right in there. That gives it more of a toasty flavor. So that is a little trick. And that's one nice thing about tea, is that you can kind of do whatever you want. You can mix two teas together. You know, there are some tea enthusiasts who would be appalled by that, but it's what you like. It doesn't matter. You can have whatever you would like. So they recommend 1 to 2 teaspoons, and maybe I really need to just add more tea to when I steep it, and maybe that would give it more of a flavor. I also tend to steep it when I steep green. I have a large thermos that keeps water boiled for me, and I tend to steep it with a little bit of filtered tap water, because I feel like green tea should be steeped with not as hot water. That's what they recommend, 170 to 185 degrees. But I wonder if I'm going to try brewing the Chun Mee with just full boiling water and see if I get more flavor out of it when I do that. So I'm going to finish this off. It is definitely not a bad tea. It's just kind of bland for me. I really like much more roasted flavors in my green tea. Plus, this tea store has some wonderful green teas. For the summer, and I'm all out of it, I wish I had done a tasting with it. They sent me a cucumber green tea. It was amazing. It had like dried slices of cucumber in it. I'm definitely going to go buy more of that. But it does feel like a summer tea kind of. I don't know. I'll drink any kind of tea anytime. Just gotta be what mood I'm in. Okay, so our last tea, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I'm almost out of this. So this is Mango Black. Mango Black has been one of my go-to teas, not necessarily from this store, but when I was a kid, there was a store, and I don't even know if they still exist, called Crabtree and Evelyn, or Evelyn. And they sold teas. I don't even remember what brand it was. And when I would go shopping with my mom, I probably was a teenager before I really started to like it, but I would buy this mango tea. Oh, it smells so good. And then they stopped, like the stores kind of weren't around very much anymore. I think there's still some, but I'm also not a big shopper, so I don't know what's around in malls anymore. But they stopped carrying the tea, I believe. And so I used to order it online sometimes, and then I've tried other brands. I've had a really hard time finding one I like. But I like this one. So this smells very flowery, very fruity. It really smells like mango. So that like ripe mango smell. When you have almost an overripe mango in your house, which doesn't happen much in the States, but in Indonesia, we often had mangoes that were around, and if they got a little overripe, you could smell them. And it smells like tea. So let me pour some of this out. So there are chunks of mango in there too that you're not going to be able to see. This is basically just, it looks like black tea. Yeah, I'm not going to spend a week trying to get a piece of mango out. They are just like little orange pieces of mango in there. And even if you don't get a piece of mango, the flavor's still really in there. So I have poured the black mango into here because it is 7:15 at night, and I'm not going to drink a big glass of black tea today or at this time because it will keep me up. I am very careful with caffeine because I tend to have insomnia. These thermoses are great. I can make a tea. If we're going out of town, I can make tea the night before, put it in here, put it by the door so I don't forget it on the way out in the morning when we leave, and it will still be nice and hot, and it keeps it nice and hot. I have no idea what the brand is. It was given to me as a gift. Oh, it's Swell. It was given to me as a gift. We actually have 3 of them. So not much of a smell, so it smells like tea. So it's so yummy. I love it. It would be good with milk in it. I don't tend to put milk in my tea. It would also be good sweetened. I don't tend to do that either. I really like my black tea pretty tanniny. I like it dark and rich, and this one is actually pretty light, so I tend to have a very well steeped English breakfast tea in the morning. I will oversteep my tea because I really want it kind of bitter like coffee in the morning, and I want that caffeine, but I don't want as much as coffee. I will drink coffee occasionally, but it's not my go-to. I want a great big cup of tea. So yeah, this is a nice one, and it is a wow tea. The mango is a wow. This is a Ceylon, and it's got dried pieces of mango. Yeah, I can't imagine anyone not liking this unless they really don't like tea at all. They recommend it hot or iced. I would not have this iced, but I really like fruity herbal teas iced. I don't like black tea iced. that much. I know it's blasphemous. This one should be brewed at 200-212 for 3 to 5 minutes. I also could have brewed it a little bit longer. I think I only brewed it about 3 minutes. So I would probably brew it for 5 or more if I'm having it first thing in the morning. So I would love to know what your favorite teas are. I would love to know if you like these kind of tastings. This is fun for me. I like to share it. And again, I love making videos that I feel are ones that I am looking for and I would like to watch. And I am looking for wine tasting type tea videos, and I'm not finding them out there. Also, if you know of any artists who are making tea tasting videos that are kind of like wine tasting videos. My favorite wine tasting channel is Wine Folly. Love them. I would love to make videos like them. And maybe I'll move more towards that but I also want this to be ASMR. So I'm going to be a little bit quieter and a little bit less excited. It's one of the things I like about Wine Folly. They get really excited about the wines, which is not entirely appropriate for ASMR, but I hope this is relaxing for you and you enjoy it, and I hope I get time to make more. Okay, have a wonderful night.